Hello and welcome to another video of DV360 course. In this video, we're going to get idea about what DV360 is if you are a super beginner. Full form of DV360 is Display and Video 360. Some people call it that. And it is basically a DSP, which is a demand side platform. We'll know the details, but just to give you an idea, DV360 was before called Doubleclick BID Manager or DBM. Actually, it was owned by a company called Doubleclick. They owned a lot of products like Doubleclick BID Manager, Doubleclick Campaign Manager, Doubleclick for Publishers, and then Google changed all their names, so Doubleclick BID Manager became Display and Video 360. So now DV360 is basically a part of Google marketing platform, which has other products as well like Campaign Manager, Optimize 360, Data Studio, Analytics 360, and Search 360. Any paid media landscape where you run ads, basically you use paid media, whether you run it through Google, Meta ads, TikTok ads, or any kind of platform, there are always two parties involved. One is the advertiser, which is basically the companies or brands who want to advertise, who want to show their ads to the people, and they are ready to pay for it. Now all these companies basically run ads. Apple advertises their products, Samsung advertises their products, Nike advertises about the branding, SLS Properties runs lead gen ads. They want people to know that they're selling a particular apartment or villa or whatever, and they want people to fill lead forms, etc. Honda wants to sell cars. They advertise about their cars on TV, on YouTube. Sometimes you see it on websites. Smile Dental Clinic, same thing. If you go, for example, to Google, you search for dental clinic around me, you might see an ad from a dental clinic, or you might see it on Facebook. They have an offer, clean your teeth, 149 dirham package or whatever. And in certain cases, YouTube is also an advertiser, because you might sometimes see ads from YouTube about YouTube Premium, starts with 14.99 dirhams per month or whatever. On the other hand, there are publishers which basically show these ads. They have ad slots on their websites. For example, if you're playing a game and on mobile, the whole screen is taken over by a particular ad, a video ad or a display ad, so that gaming app becomes a publisher because they are showing ads and they get paid for it, and the advertiser is paying them basically. If you go to Google, you search for dental clinic around me, you see an ad from a dental clinic. Google in that case becomes a publisher because Google is providing that space for the advertiser to show ads there. Facebook as well, if you're scrolling Facebook feed, you see ads from somewhere, let's say from Honda. Now in that case, Facebook becomes a publisher because they're providing an ad slot, a place for an ad to show on their website. Same thing Instagram. And if you see YouTube again here, because YouTube can be an advertiser when they're promoting their products. When the ad is about YouTube, they become an advertiser because they have to pay wherever you see the ad, on Facebook or YouTube or wherever. And in most cases, if you are on YouTube, you're watching a video, you see ad from Honda or Apple or Nike, in that case, YouTube becomes a publisher. So every time you see an ad, basically, in that particular case, you have to see who is an advertiser and who is a publisher, because in certain cases it might be confusing. If you see a YouTube ad on Facebook, in that case YouTube is an advertiser, but if you see an ad on YouTube, then YouTube becomes a publisher. And similarly, BBC website, you can go to BBC website, you see ads there, Khalij Times, Hindustan Times, any website you go, you see an ad there. That website in that case becomes a publisher. They get paid to show ads on their website, and the advertiser pays for it. The advertiser is always called a buy side because they buy the ad inventory. Ad inventory is basically these ad slots on these publisher websites where there's an opportunity to show ads. Because they buy these, so that's why it's called buy side or demand side, because they have a demand for ad inventory. They buy this inventory. And the publisher is supplying these ad slots because they have the supply of these ad slots which they are able to sell to these advertisers. That's why they're called sell side, or sometimes they're called supply side. Now there's always a third party involved who connect these advertisers and publishers, because if I go ahead and I run a campaign, I want to show ads, let's say I go to Google and create a campaign. Now my ads can appear on thousands and millions of websites and apps. I don't have contracts with these thousands and millions of websites and apps, but my ads show there because it's all controlled by a third party like Google, Meta ads, TikTok ads. These are the platforms who have contracts. So I directly go ahead as an advertiser, let's say Senator Viran ads. I create a campaign on Google ads, and this campaign, my ads will appear on thousands of apps, websites, including Google search. And all of this is handled by Google ads or Meta ads or TikTok ads. So there's always a third party involved in this landscape, which is called ad tech partners. Advertiser, publisher, and a third party who handles all of this technology. Now, where DSPs like DV360 come into picture is basically in a programmatic landscape is a bit different. There's some additional technology added to this landscape, which is a DSP and an SSP, and the intermediate party like Google Ads and all we discussed in the last slide. Here it's called an ad exchange. This is the simplest form of programmatic advertising. There's an advertiser who wants to show an ad. That is the publisher where the ads will be shown, and there is an intermediate party called ad exchange. And this advertiser is connected to ad exchange via something called DSP, and the publisher where the ads will be shown, whether it's an app, website, whatever, is connected to this ad exchange through a piece of technology called SSP. Basically, this platform is used on the demand side. That's why it's called a demand side platform. DSP is basically a platform. It's a piece of technology. It's a tool that basically helps the advertisers to buy this ad inventory or ad slots programmatically. The examples for demand side platform is DV360, for which we have this whole course, and there is other tools like the Trade Desk, Amazon DSP, MediaMath. These are the biggest ones. DV360 is probably the biggest one. So if you see, Google has a tool for everything. For example, demand side, they have DV360, ad exchange, they have Google AdX. Supply side, they have Google Ad Manager. It's not Google Ads. Don't confuse it with Google Ads is separate and Google Ad Manager is separate. It's an SSP. So now you have a slight idea about a DSP. Is basically it is the tool that an advertiser uses to run programmatic campaigns. Now, for example, as Senator we run ads, if I'm an advertiser and I want to run programmatic advertising campaigns, for example, here, if I want to run Google Ads campaigns, I'll directly go to Google Ads and create an account. To run ads programmatically, I will need something called a DSP, which is like Google Ads account, Meta Ads account. You basically have an account on a DSP and you run your campaigns there. Ad exchange on the seller side is connected to tens of exchanges and ad networks. 90%, I would say 90% of the ad inventory available in the whole world, any website, any app, basically using DV360 DSP, you can show ads there. All of this will be super clear in the coming lessons, but this is just to give you an idea, make you familiar with the landscape overall. Now, when it comes to who uses DSPs like DV360, one, it's used by big agencies. It's used by big companies who have sizable budgets. If you have small budgets, you can probably use Google Ads, Meta Ads, and all those platforms, and you wouldn't need DSPs. But if you have big budgets, you want to scale, and you have multi-market campaigns. For example, if you're Apple, Samsung, you have campaigns running across the world in tens of countries. In those cases, DSP is very helpful, which we will discuss later in this course. You will understand all of this, but this is just to give you an idea. As well as a lot of people ask me, is DV360 used only for branding campaigns? No, it's used for branding as well as performance campaigns, because now in previous years, like last decade, DV360 and all other platforms have become very performance heavy focused. You basically have different bidding strategies and a lot of options to basically optimize your campaign towards certain goals. And that's all for this video. In the next few videos, we will know about account setup process. How do you open a DSP account, as well as we'll know about what are the key differences between a DSP as well as using Google Ads, Meta Ads, and all those platforms. Thank you so much, and I will see you in the next one.